recording today. Basically, we're just showing everybody what we do here. Rapid credit boosters, we're boosting everybody's credit.
Before Antoine Sallis would spend much of his early years struggling through life, spending time in and out of prison, only then to reinvent himself.
And so I studied every day, in and out. I got tunnel vision. I don't care what it was. Everything else came secondary to credit. I did everything it took for me to learn about credit.
Before Antoine Sallis would become the man, the myth, the legend, I'm talking about the credit genius.
I met Antoine maybe a year ago. The car got repossessed. My credit score went from 760 to 554. I met Antoine, we made a plan. He told me what can actually be done. A year later, the repo was gone off my credit score. My credit score has gone up again.
Before Antoine Sallis would have over 350,000 followers on Instagram at the time of this recording. Antoine Sallis is the president of Rapid Credit Boosters, a multi-million-dollar company that offers its clients credit management services. And in just a few short years, Antoine, he's managed to increase the value of his company to a reported $8 million. Furthermore, Antoine, he's an accredited author and motivational speaker whose primary goal is to make at least one of his clients' dreams become a reality each and every day. But if you had met Antoine only about a decade ago, you would have never recognized the dude. Now, his early life experiences, they included hustling on the San Diego streets, enduring homelessness, and eventually earning some extended prison time. That would lead to him reassessing his life in order to become the very best version of himself. So how did he go from sleeping under a bridge to owning multiple properties and a slew of exotic cars? You're about to find out in this very special Before They're Famous video. Antoine Sallis was born Antoine Bollocks on May 29, 1982 in Sacramento, California. His mom Shayla worked as a licensed therapist, and while Antoine never knew his biological father, his stepfather Jesse, a general contractor, he was a strong presence in his life. At the age of 6, his parents, they moved their family to the city of San Diego, where Antoine, he spent his childhood in what was considerably, a pretty nice neighborhood. Sounds good, right? The only problem is that Antoine, he had a bit of a rebel streak in him, and he'd cross over to the other side of town where, he'd end up working with the Bloods. So, there's that. Yeah, things get ugly real quick, but then they get good. Antoine's other big issue, a serious case of middle child syndrome. Now, his big brother, he was a local track and field star and something of a big deal around his neighborhood. Meanwhile, his baby sister was such a beautiful infant that she won numerous beauty pageants while still only in diapers. So yeah, you could say that Antoine, he struggled to find his place in the world, which probably had something to do with his decision to take to the streets. In fact, he told us, "I was neither talented nor a beauty model. I always felt as if I didn't really know my purpose, just kind of in the middle. Middle child, clueless." It probably didn't help matters that his mother, she constantly worried about what he would do with his life, and when he was young, he used to take apart race cars and then put them back together. Only he'd install a cardboard box on top of them. A strange pastime? Sure, but at the same time, it displayed a proclivity for building, which led to his mother secretly harboring a desire for her son to become an engineer. And while that may never come to pass, who would have thought that years down the road, Antoine, he would finally find success by building businesses. As a teenager, Antoine attended Sarah High School, where he took all advanced classes, but after 4 years spent ditching school, smoking weed, drinking booze, getting into fistfights, and chasing girls, Antoine, he found himself kicked out during his senior year. From there, he was placed into a secondary school where the administrators told him that with only 3 weeks to go in school, he would never graduate because he was already too far behind. Now, one teacher even told him, "I've been doing this 35 years and no one has ever done it." The joke wound up being on them because Antoine, he got serious about studying and he surpassed everyone by earning himself a B- average as well as his high school diploma. Next, Antoine, he set out for college, but his old habits, they began cropping back up with a vengeance. Now, he stopped attending classes and he eventually dropped out completely. Now, unsure what to do next, Antoine, he started his first business at the age of 18, but it wouldn't last long before going bottom up. In fact, Antoine, he would start 10 businesses over as many years, like a flooring business back in 2005, all of which would ultimately, wind up failing. Now, around this time in his life, he also suffered from alcoholism, an issue that once got so extreme, he wound up being admitted to the hospital after suffering an epileptic seizure spurred on, from his drinking. Antoine would also find himself in a revolving door of jail stints as he struggled to survive. Now, while serving time in prison, he got married and he had his son, Antoine II, born soon after. But his wife, she would end up leaving him for her ex, while Antoine, he was still locked away. Now, losing his wife and being unable to see her son absolutely gutted the man. But as it would turn out, being pulled away from someone he cared so much about, well, it would ultimately become the kick in the pants that Antoine needed to turn his life around. After years spent sleeping in a prison cell, parked cars, or sometimes even under bridges, well, Antoine, he decided to try his hand at sales. And it would turn out to be something that he was actually really good at. Now, he picked up a gig working at T-Mobile, and he wound up earning the honor of becoming the 5th most successful salesman in the entire nation. But guess what? Well, the only ever good recognition he got was simply like a pat on the back. Even with his T-Mobile gig, well, life wasn't any easier than it had been before, at least not at first. Now, he couldn't even get approved to buy a measly $10,000 car because his credit score, well, it was an abysmal 397. In fact, the number was so low that the car salesman literally laughed in his face.
He says, sorry, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get you into a car. And I was like, why? And he was still holding his laughter, and then it just came out. You have a 378. So I started laughing. I thought it was a joke. I didn't even know it was serious.
Now, Antoine, he left so embarrassed that he decided then and there to find some way to fix his credit. Thankfully for Antoine, well, life, it provided a path. Now, he met a woman named Nicole Ivy who brought him into work for a credit company. She took him under her wing and mentored him on the secrets of the credit trade and even paid for his initiation into her firm. Once Antoine got started on this path, well, he knew that he had finally found the way to turn himself into a real success story. Now, next to Antoine, he began testing out the things that he had learned by experimenting with the strategies on his own family. Now, almost all of these ideas, they would pan out, which in turn, well, it only increased Antoine's confidence all the more.
Hello, my name is Shayla, and Antoine is my son, I'm proud to say. He was up all night and all day, looking and searching for answers, and thus, the Credit Genius was born. I'm really proud of him and glad to know that he's my son.
Finally, Antoine, he founded his own credit repair business that we originally called himself Antoine the Credit Magician. But, well, it didn't take him long to determine that since magic is really nothing more than an illusion, well, then he should change his name to the Credit Genius. And since then, well, the name, it just kind of stuck.
Bad credit killing your commute?
Excuse me. Can you help me with my car?
Watch this.
Antoine the Credit Genius got your back.
He started off by only charging people $100 to help them out, and he teaches clients that the very first thing they needed to learn is to simply believe that they can overcome their predicament. In other words, well, you have to speak success into existence. Or as one of Antoine's biggest role models, Master P, would say, words have power and we need to use them wisely. Once that belief was firmly established, then Antoine, he got to work helping fix his clients' real problems. Now, oftentimes when he was finished, well, his clients, they were crying tears of joy. But he never quite realized the impact he was having until one day that his mom, she asked him, "Do you know what you're doing? Do you know that you're changing people's lives?" From that point on, all of Antoine's former hangups and insecurities, well, they've fallen by the wayside. Now he's the founder of Pac-10 Enterprise and Rapid Credit Boosters, a consultation service that offers its clients surefire remedies to repair their credit scores over at rapidcreditboosters.com. Today, his company is currently valued at $8 million, and just as importantly, well, his son, Antoine Jr., well, he now lives with him full-time. He's also written an upcoming self-help book called The Great American Credit Secret, which will act as a companion piece to his recent TED Talk. Oh, and did I mention that he also owns an exotic car company? Yeah, he said he'd be hooking me up next time in MLA. So now that we're here at the end of the story, what's his secret? Well, according to Antoine, all you have to do is believe. Everyone deserves to get out there and live their best life. Change your credit, change your life. Well, don't just wait around until my man becomes the next shark on Shark Tank to listen to him. You heard the guy, so go get it.
I took my credit card and I purchased that property, but I took the appropriate steps, and to this day, I own that property in the Philippines. I remodeled it and I earned equity on it. And I paid back that credit card a long time ago.
There's so much to learn. Anyway, my name's Michael McCrud, and I hope you enjoyed this look up at one of the most influential credit gurus around. I'll see you guys in another video. Boom!